Hello and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Beth. I'll introduce our team and we'll get started in a few minutes. I'm just looking at our participants and waiting for everybody to join from the waiting room. So we'll get started in a minute. All right, looks like still people coming in. All right. Well, welcome everyone. We're so glad to have you here today, and thank you for your interest in the UC Berkeley Master of Advanced Study in Engineering. This is one in a series of information sessions that we have been doing to launch this new program. This is the first one we're doing in 2024, so Happy New Year, and welcome again. Let me start with our agenda and then I'll introduce the team. All right, so today our goals are to introduce you to Berkeley Engineering, and then as well as the program itself, the curriculum and the co-curricular activities, the kind of courses and faculty that we have in the program. And then we'll spend a good portion of the presentation talking about the writing, the essays that you'll have in your application. So we're going to get into those specifics today on writing your personal statement and your statement of purpose in the application. And we'll wrap it up with a Q&A. So that's a time to ask all your questions. I would like to also invite you to ask questions through the Q&A text box at any time during this presentation. So just click on the Q&A function in Zoom and we will answer as many as we can during the session in real time and then save some of the more discussion-based questions for the end as well. So please feel free to ask questions. And then of course, this presentation is being recorded, so you'll receive a copy of that for later viewing. All right, so of course, one of the most important parts of a program are the team behind it that are working on the program. So I wanted to share that group with you. So of course, we have a deep bench of faculty and staff at the College of Engineering working in this program. But I wanted to especially introduce Professor Tarek Zodi, who is the faculty director for Massey. And then the team that we have here today are, of course, myself. Hi, I'm Beth, and I'm the Director of Professional Degree Programs. We also have Melissa Nidever, who's our Executive Assistant Dean, and Felicia Rabong, who is our Academic Program Coordinator for Massey. So the three of us are here today to introduce you to the program and answer all your questions. So with that, I would like to pass it over to Melissa to talk more in detail about the college, the program, and the faculty. Melissa.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Beth. And I'd like to add my welcome to all of you who are joining us today. We're thrilled to have a chance to talk with you about this new program. So if you want to go to the next slide. First and foremost, I think what Berkeley brings to you are the best faculty in the United States, and we really believe they are also leading the world in their engineering fields. And so whatever area of engineering you are interested in and the ways in which you would like to develop your career, we're able to provide you with the faculty who are going to give you the information that is at the leading edge and the skills and the knowledge that you need to be successful in a technology career. So next slide. In terms of the degree itself, we've been working on this very carefully for the last few years, in fact, and have received a lot of feedback and really polished it up for you. First and foremost, this degree is planned as a learner-oriented degree. We want to bring you, as I mentioned, the very best engineering knowledge and skills from our faculty, who in fact are leading each of their areas. And we want to help you accelerate your career in whatever direction makes sense for you personally. And with this degree, you're actually able to really customize the courses and areas that you want to learn about, all the while gaining really leading edge skills and knowledge to help you be successful in again, whatever career path interests you. And frankly, your interests are number one here. You're really in the driver's seat, and we will help you make these choices. We don't want to just give you a list of, half a dozen courses and say these and, take these, you'll earn your master's. That's not the way this works. This is much more focused on your learning what you wish to learn. In addition to that kind of flexibility around the areas that you'll study, the program is also designed to be very flexible so that it can be especially helpful for folks who have a full-time job or, or family responsibilities or other areas that they're involved with. And so you can really pace this in the way that you would like, meaning you can take as many or as few courses as you wish in the different 3 terms of the year. The program does require 24 units being completed. The courses are asynchronous in terms of the lectures and the readings, but also have synchronous aspects with the faculty through their office hours and with the graduate student teaching advisors who are helpful with any content questions, that sort of thing. So definitely we will have live faculty and TA support available through the course. In addition, what being a part of the Berkeley community brings to you is a group of Berkeley engineering alumni who are all around the world, leading companies, starting companies. It's an amazing cohort of folks, and you will become a member of that team. So next slide. So here's a chart that gives you a little bit more of a at a glance view. As I mentioned, 24 units complete the degree. You have between 1 and 4 years to complete those 24 units. So it is very much your pace that drives it. You'll earn an engineering professional master's degree. Our faculty, as I mentioned, are global leaders, not only in sort of the study of various engineering areas, but also in leading companies and starting companies. It's a very entrepreneurial environment. And we will have, at the end of your program, a capstone experience, which will pull together what you have learned throughout your program. So next slide. So this shows you a little bit more some of the details that are kind of under the hood, if you will. We have a set of different courses, ones that we're calling foundational, which is where we recommend that you begin. And you, again, are able to choose those almost entirely as you wish. They are going to be grouped into themes, and you can choose from various themes as to what you'd like to study. We ask that you do choose a depth area, and so that would be one of the themes. And to go a little deeper in that by taking other courses in that area, and there are lots of choices in each of the themes. As well, it's important in engineering to really have the big picture view. And so this degree also encourages you to take some breadth classes. And then, as I mentioned, what kind of closes it all out and tops it off is the capstone. The capstone is actually a 2-unit course, whereas the other courses are each 1-unit courses. So they're kind of short chunks that you can take care of, especially if you're a working person. And at the end of the program, really what we see you receiving is a very comprehensive engineering education, so that you can really develop and grow your professional career in the way that you would like to. Next slide. So we're going to talk a little bit about courses now and the themes. So the themes are the way that we've organized the courses. And there are dozens of courses, and they are grouped under these different themes. So that if you're interested, say, in biomedical, very interested in applying engineering to medical situations, then that number 2 would be a good one for you. If you're interested in data science and machine learning, data analysis, then number 3 would be a good one, and so on. And our team can help you figure out which of these areas are going to be most helpful to you as you develop your career. So next slide. This is to give you a sense of the kinds of courses that we are going to be offering. And they really span everything in engineering, from electronic device fabrication to software engineering to bioengineering, design, aerodynamics, leadership, energy systems. So you can kind of see the broad array of topics. And this has been developed really with you, our students, in mind, so that whatever your interests are, you can study those and become more of an expert and learn what's really important in those fields. One other thing I'll just mention is that each of the themes, because it's interdisciplinary, you can think of them as a very close family. There's definitely overlap between themes with our courses. And so this provides you quite a bit of flexibility in how you choose to complete the degree. Next slide. I wanted to give you an example of some of our faculty. And this is, to me, what is most special about this program is who you will be learning from. Our faculty, whether they're in mechanical engineering or environmental, civil, electrical engineering, computer sciences, they are very passionate about their work, and they are leading the work forward for their entire fields. And so they bring an incredible perspective, and I think you'll be very, very inspired by them. I'll just say I know each of these faculty personally: Grace, Josh, Lisa, and Scott, and they are very dynamic and very excited about teaching and very excited about helping you learn from an online perspective, because in this way, you're able to basically bring Berkeley to you. Wherever you are in the world, you can learn from these Berkeley faculty. And that's what makes us so excited about launching this new degree. Next slide. I think I'm going to turn it over to you now, Beth.
Thanks so much, Melissa. So, of course, when you make the decision to go back to graduate school, it's not just about the classes and the faculty, which of course are of core importance, but really it's also about your cohort, and it's about both the personal and professional contacts that you make, and it's about getting you to the next step in your career, especially for the professional masters, getting to that next step in your career, whether it is to, accelerate in a promotional manner, really excel deeply in a technology area, or to switch functions. Maybe you're working in one area of engineering and you really want to pivot to another industry or job function. So acknowledging that and building on Berkeley's deep expertise in student affairs and career development, this program is part of our career development program. There are, I would say, concentric communities at Berkeley. UC Berkeley as a whole has a career center, College of Engineering, career resources. The graduate division has specific career development for graduate students. And then each program as well has targeted opportunities. The College of Engineering specifically, has many graduate students, PhD, MS, but we have 6 professional degree programs, and one other program that's online, a joint program with chemistry. So we have this deep experience that we will bring to apply to the students in this new program. And so I give that context just to say that, it's very important to us that the students come in and are engaged from day one or even before in considering your career goals, your personal goals, and an understanding of all the resources that we have. For some people, that means one-on-one coaching. That means help with your resume, help with interviewing. For other students, that means networking at an employer event. That means specifically career fairs. That means brown bag lunches on product design or building your portfolio. I'd say the variety and amount is really a lot. And that's why I mentioned we start early, really to help you focus on what's going to be really the most effective career development for you. So it really is everything from that community building to one-on-one training and counseling. All right. So this program was created to meet a need, both by students, but also by industry. So our faculty director really has identified these emerging industries as potential employment for graduates of this program. So of course, this is just a starting place to inspire you in the directions that the coursework can lead you. But again, as Melissa mentioned, there is a lot of breadth in the coursework as well as depth due to the one-unit nature of the program, so you can really customize that. And so that's what both our career advisors and our student advisors can help you craft something that really makes sense to what you do. But what's also great about this program is we'll be adding new classes all the time based on the latest developments, based on the latest faculty research, to really help inspire you. So these are just some examples of employers and industries that we are imagining for our graduates, but that also employ graduates currently of the other professional programs we have here at the College of Engineering. All right, so moving on to some more of the nuts and bolts, I want to talk about tuition, the application process, and then we have plenty of time to go through, writing your essays for the application. All right, so tuition and fees. So this program is a per unit fee structure. So depending on the number of classes you take per semesters and the number of semesters you take, that will determine your tuition and fees bill for that semester. So the program currently costs $17.50 per unit. And with this program, it does correspond to per 1 unit course. And so the total tuition you can expect to be $42,000. There is one variable, and that's the tuition. Those are the fees, the per semester Berkeley fees, that are a specific set amount per semester. This last semester, they're about $900, and those can change slightly, just depending on what the UC system approves. So that'll help you plan out your total expenses depending on if you're taking 2 semesters or 8 semesters to graduate. So there are funding opportunities. The one I'm most excited to talk about are our scholarships and grants specifically for this program. So we have a budget set aside to help students make this attainable. And we will, when the faculty committee evaluates your application for admission, they will also be evaluating your application for our program scholarships and grants. So these are a combination of academic merit, financial need, educational diversity. One of these, a combination of these, will all make you eligible for these scholarships. I will say that we expect most of the scholarships to be partial, right? So, while many students may receive a scholarship, it won't be for the full amount of the entire program cost. So, what are some other ways that you can fund this program? For working professionals, I certainly do recommend asking your employer. Many larger companies have programs for tuition reimbursement. And many smaller companies have flexibility, and you can negotiate that as part of either a new jobs, package, as a part of retention with your manager, but it really never hurts to ask. And one of the great arguments is how much value the experience will add to your day-to-day work. Really, that you can take the skills that you're acquiring in each course and apply them the next day at work. So we've seen that argument be very successful, for many of our part-time students in other programs. All right, so I'd like to move on to admissions. All right, so this is my one overview slide about admissions. So the program is starting this academic year, and we will do intakes each semester. So Berkeley has 3 semesters per year, and each semester has 2 deadlines, a priority deadline and a final deadline. So the priority deadline means the intention is you will hear back earlier from us regarding your admissions decision, but both deadlines will be eligible for scholarships and grants. And I know that's a little different than some programs. So you can think about, when you would like to start the program, and if you're not ready to apply and start this year, of course, next year, the deadlines will look similar to these as well. But right now, the application is open for these 3 semesters, and it's all online. You apply at grad.berkeley.edu by the deadlines indicated to be considered. And what do you need to have in that complete application for review? We do ask you for a CV or a resume. 1 page is great. A snapshot of your education and professional experience is appreciated. We do ask for academic transcripts. So any classes that you've taken that have counted towards your undergraduate degree, and then any classes that are relevant to supporting your candidacy for this program are appreciated as well. So any prerequisite that you have that you may have taken out of the context of your undergraduate degree, you should submit those as well. Now, this program does require a STEM major, a STEM undergraduate degree, and that's, of course, science, technology, engineering, and math. We define that very widely, but we believe that a foundation in these areas will set you up for success in the program. So that is the reason for that requirement. We require also, of course, the essays that I will talk about in detail next. 2 essays, a statement of purpose and a personal history statement. Brevity is always good. We're looking for you to just add information and context to your candidacy, that we can't glean from your transcripts or your resume. And then we also require 2 letters of recommendation. You'll see in the Berkeley application, there's space for 3, but you only need 2 submitted by the deadline to be considered for the Mass E admission to the Massey program. My advice for letters of recommendation is always give your recommenders plenty of time and plenty of information to give you their best recommendation. So you want to choose somebody, you know, who you've worked with closely, or you have done research, or, you know, multiple classes with, but somebody who really does know you and is not going to just attest to a grade you got in their class, for example, because we can get that from the transcript. But somebody who knows you well and can say, hey, this person will succeed in this graduate program. And their goals match with the Berkeley Massey. So while you can't write the letter for them, you could provide them with your CV, your transcripts, your statements of purpose and personal history statement to give them everything they need, right, to write a strong recommendation. You may also want to give them bullet points of the key accomplishments that you made while working with them. So you can just really give them everything they need, again, to submit a strong application, a strong recommendation by the deadline. So I think if you follow all of that advice, it sets you up to have really good letters of recommendation. If you are an international student, so that means that you completed your undergraduate degree outside of the US in a country where the official language is not English, you do need to take a TOEFL or a IELTS exam. And there's more information about that on the Graduate Division website. What we do not require is a GRE exam. So hopefully that's good news and saves you a little bit of time in preparing your application. Really, a lot of programs at Berkeley and a lot of schools have stopped requiring the GRE because we found that the other elements of your application really correlate better to success in the program than this test score. And in saying that, I will also say this is a holistic review process. So, you know, you don't need to be at the average admit or you know, stellar in all areas. We really are looking at the whole candidate, the whole person when making admissions decisions. You know, who will, you know, get a lot out of the program and who will contribute to the cohort community as well. Okay, so at this time, I'm going to transition to the second half of our presentation, which is about writing the application essays. Why do we ask for 2 essays? Really, what is the value of that work that you're doing? Providing these essays really allows you control to introduce yourself in your own words and explain why you are seeking a Massey degree. So the admissions committee, in their holistic review, is really looking to consider your experiences, your attributes, your academic metrics all together, as well as the value you would contribute to learning, practice, and teaching in this program. So with these essays and this sort of control of your narrative, you're sharing helpful information to help us learn the many roads you've taken to get to this point in your life and the roads that you imagine during and after the program. So the difference between the 2 essays, you know, sometimes their names are so similar. So I'll go through each one in just a minute. The statement of purpose really allows us to better understand your interests, specializations, and career goals that relate to engineering and the fit for the program. The personal history statement allows us to see beyond your academic qualities as an individual and a potential graduate student. So through this statement, we learn how your life experiences contribute or can contribute to the social, intellectual, and cultural diversity within the Berkeley Massey. All right, so let's talk about the statement of purpose first. So again, what I really encourage you is to be brief, succinct, and not repeat anything that's already in your resume or your transcript, right? Because we're reviewing everything, and we're reviewing a lot of applications. So you want to say, what is additive? And that's, explaining to us your interests, your passion, and how those things relate to your future goals, right? So I like to see it as sort of a formula, your backgrounds and experiences, academically and professionally, plus the Mass E program, equal your goals. So how would you fill in that formula? What do you hope to accomplish in this program? What are you hoping to learn? And you can talk about the themes you may be interested or specific classes, but we don't hold you to it, right? We don't say like, oh, you said you would do these themes or take these classes. Really, we're just looking to see that you've thought about it and you've done your research. And some other things to think about, are why now? Why is it the right time to start this journey for you? And again, maximum word count is 1,000, but don't hesitate. If you've said all you've said in fewer words, not a problem at all. All right, so when you look at the prompt within the online application, these are really the questions that we're looking for you to answer. This seems like a lot, but I think you can, again, some of these questions can be answered with really the same narrative, right? So what has led you to pursue this graduate program? What are your career goals? Why a master's degree in engineering? Why the specific program, maybe the specific themes? Why now, and why Berkeley? All right, so to sum up statement of purpose, we really want to hear about your career goals, your professional aspirations, and how this program will meet them. If you're entering this field, so if you're a recent graduate, that's totally fine. This program is for everybody at each stage in their career. But tell us about your interests and the skills that you want to acquire during your program. And, perhaps touch on how you want to contribute to the program, to the field of engineering, or, societal impact as a whole. These are all great things, but what's important is that your passion comes through, right? There's no right answer in these essays. It's all about that personal passion. All right, so let's move on to the personal statement, personal history statement. So again, this is 1,000 words or less. We want you to be clear, concise, and relevant. And, we don't want you to be vague or nuanced. I think that's really what that third bullet point means here. But, make sure you're reviewing the prompt and answering the questions asked. There's specific things that we want to know about you. And really the personal history statement, because the prompt is pretty broad, is really about filling in any gaps or making any connections for us. So whereas the statement of purpose asks, why Massey, why Berkeley? The personal history statement asks, and what else? So what else do you want the committee to know about you, your story, that you did not already share in your statement of purpose, or that's clear in the rest of the application? Right, so it's important to realize that this personal history statement doesn't even need to talk about engineering. However, it can, of course, talk about engineering. So it should describe more about who you are, your family background, the experiences that make you a unique individual and will help you stand out, or your connection and motivation for working in the engineering field. So for example, I always like to say, this is the place to say whether you were in the first in your family, to go to college, the first in your family to go to graduate school. Did you start a company when you were in high school and sell it. Anything really that's unique, that's not in, that will help you really fill out, our understanding of you. So when we've read this, we understand more about who you are as a whole person. But again, don't repeat anything you've told us already in other areas of the application. But this is a great place to put any explanation of, say, gaps in your employment, inconsistencies in your grades from undergrad, inconsistencies in test scores, or just any, showing us, explaining anything we may have questions about. This is the place to do it. You could also address if you faced or overcome any obstacles, if there's any specific life lessons you've learned and how you would use those in your engineering career. This is a place to demonstrate focus, maturity, motivation. So that's just some inspiration that you can use going into that essay. So here's a review of the common themes, giving you some other ideas of things that you could talk about. And these prompts are in the Berkeley application as well, I believe. But, really what makes you unique, and what ties, all those other sort of grades and resume and letters of rec all together. All right, so I have a couple slides in summary that apply to both of the essays in the application. And that really is to consider your responses carefully. We do understand that you may be writing responses for different schools and you may want to reuse material, but read through your response to make sure that the content is relevant to the prompt for the Berkeley application. And then double check your writing. Give yourself time to revisit your response. Edit, edit, edit. So don't rush your writing process. Create the space in your schedule to revise work, to show your essay to friends, colleagues, family, to give you feedback. So ultimately, it is up to you to polish your response before you submit. Because another thing that we're looking at is, of course, your ability to write. So the written communication aspect. So we don't want to see any spelling errors or grammatical errors. All right. And this last slide really just does emphasize that as well. Strong and clear writing skills. And there is no right answer, right? Your stories are unique to you. There is no cookie cutter candidate, for graduate education at Berkeley. What's important is that you're passionate about, why you're a good fit for Berkeley. Great. Well, I want to encourage you to submit your questions. We're almost to the question and answer portion of this presentation. But to wrap up, here is the application checklist, just a reminder of everything that we require. And I'd say the most time consuming, right, are going to be those 2 essays. And then of course, facilitating your letters of recommendation. Great. Well, thank you so much for listening. And now I'd like to turn over to questions from the audience. I want to thank Felicia for having answered a bunch of those already. So I'll take a look at the ones that we will be answering live and divide that between the staff here. Let's see, Melissa, if you could you talk more about the capstone project? So one attendee is interested to know, will that be done individually or in groups?
Great question. Thank you so much for asking. So this is the time in your program when you reflect on what you've learned in the various master's courses that you have taken. And you are very much involved in deciding what topic you might like to explore. And of course, there is plenty of guidance about this, but it's more an individual project than a group project. And part of this, I think, just reflects that we want it to be as tailored and as customized for you as possible in terms of a topic. So as an example, you might be very interested, say, in the energy sector, and perhaps you have perceived that there's a technology gap that's very important to address. And then your work in your capstone could be looking into that, looking at alternatives, getting feedback on your ideas as you go along, and then creating, in effect, a report. Need not be terribly long, perhaps 5 or 10 pages, that would really address what you've learned about this area, but also bringing in knowledge and skills you've gained from the courses that you took before. So that's really the goal of the project. I hope that helps.
Great. And relatedly, Melissa, can the capstone project use work that you are doing at your employer?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. In fact, I think that's, where appropriate, I think that's a great idea. Really good idea. And allows you to really, take advantage on both sides. You're learning, but also you're able to show folks that you work with, and perhaps management, how you're making this master's degree really impactful and effective in the workplace.
Great, thank you. All right, another question. Let's see, there are a couple questions that I'll try to answer. If someone already has or is expecting to have a master's degree in computer science or another related discipline, like cybersecurity or data science, would this program still be a good fit? And the answer to that is probably yes. So while UC Berkeley will not admit students to something they consider a duplicate degree to a degree that they already have, this program is so unique that I don't know that it is considered a duplication of programs like MS programs in computer science or data science. So I can't 100% guarantee that it's not a duplicate degree, but that really will be, up to the individual transcript and courses that you took. But this, this isn't a data science or a computer science degree, and it's not an MS degree. So those would, very most likely not be considered duplicate degrees. And then, is this program for undergraduate or graduates? So this is a graduate master's program. So to be eligible to enroll, you do need to have an undergraduate STEM major degree. And relatedly, I saw a question about can I apply if I have, if I'm still doing my undergrad? And the answer is yes. So we have plenty of students who apply while they're still undergrads, and you may receive your decision, hey, congratulations, join us when you're done with your undergrad. So the way that the timelines work, right? There's a lot of lead time. So many students apply their senior year of undergrad, and then they hear they're admitted and they start the summer or fall after they graduate. Does this program require a thesis? It does not. So instead of a thesis, it requires that 2-unit capstone project course. And as Melissa mentioned, there is a short paper involved with that project and with that class. A question for you, Melissa. Are we limited to the classes listed on your MassE website?
Oh, that is a wonderful question. I think I would say, I would say no, honestly, because how this program is being developed is that we are going to continually add courses each term, and there are 3 terms each year. So what will happen is that additional courses will come online as you are completing your degree. And, you'll have some advance notice about this so that you can effectively plan. But definitely we're not limited to the list that's on the website. Those are the ones we plan to begin with. And then others will be developed and will be quickly added.
Mhm. Great. I will add that this program, there are the classes for Mass E are the 24 units required. So that means, towards your degree requirements, you wouldn't be using any other classes at UC Berkeley that may be part of other programs. So just want to clarify that as well, as this curriculum, this online curriculum is currently unique to the program. So all of your classes will be taken from the Massey course database and course offerings, which we plan to keep adding to. And Melissa, can also about the curriculum, could you talk a little bit more about the 6 units outside the technical depth theme, so the breadth units?
Sure. So here's the idea. Let's imagine, I'm going to go back to maybe you want to apply engineering to energy systems. Perhaps that was an example I mentioned, I think, earlier. And that's your depth topic. So you're going to focus in that area on with your 7 courses of depth. Then, as you kind of look beyond that particular theme, look at the other 4 themes and ask yourself, are there complementary areas that would be useful to me? Are there areas that I've just always been curious about and would like to have background in so that I can be effective perhaps in certain settings at work or in your future career goals? It's a very personal decision how you would like to use those 6 courses. And to some degree, if you feel, more comfortable focusing on a second theme to sort of go with your depth theme, that would be something that we could certainly work with you on. So if say you're really excited about infrastructure, but you're also very interested in data analysis, then you could potentially use those breadth courses to kind of fill out perhaps your more data analysis interest. So I hope that's helpful.
Great, thanks, Melissa. Let's see, I have a couple questions that I'll answer here. For meeting prerequisites such as calculus and linear algebra, if we did not take these in our undergraduate program, can we meet these through taking courses on these topics from online learning platforms such as Coursera or edX? Yes. Many STEM undergraduate majors, we hope, did include these topics. But if you don't have them or you want to demonstrate better grades in them, if it's been a few years since undergrad, yes, please take those courses, take them for a letter grade, and submit those transcripts. I would also say highlight that in your personal statement, just to say like, hey, this isn't in my main transcript, but I want you to know that I have those prerequisites and I got A's in them, whatever the situation is. Let's see. Next question. Does participating in this academic program qualify you as an official UC Berkeley student? Specifically, I'm looking to participate in SkyDeck program, which would require UC affiliation. Yes, you are a full-fledged UC Berkeley graduate student, with all those privileges of being a student on campus. there are some small things I can think of, such as online students are not billed for and therefore do not receive a class pass, which is the bus and transit system. But that is like sort of one of the rare exceptions. Let's see. Oh, is it possible to pursue a PhD program once this Mass E is completed? Yes. So I'd say, thinking of all our professional degree master's programs in engineering, I'd say a small number of our graduates actually go directly into PhD programs at Berkeley because they really found a great, research an academic match with a faculty member. There are other students who apply to PhDs at Berkeley and other places. The majority of our professional grad students are going, to work in industry. I have had alums also go on to do MBAs, to go on to law school, a few years out, if they're really trying to, change job functions from engineering as well. But I would say, the courses themselves, depending on the graduate program, master's courses may or may not transfer, but they certainly are a big plus, an addition, right, to your application for a PhD program. Right. Here, let's see. Question, will we be required to purchase any hardware to complete this degree? So the online courses are on the Coursera platform. So that is web-based. It does not require any hardware. Of course, you need internet access where you can hear and see. And then Melissa, I defer to you if there's any requirements for courses in terms of like hardware or lab work, maybe related to the curriculum.
No, I think if there was something along those lines, then it would be provided and shipped to you at no cost. So, but our intent is to make this as light overhead for you as possible. So, foreseeably, if you did not have a computer but had access to a library that had a computer lab, conceivably you could do your work that way via the internet, and it'll be up to you, a personal decision about whether or not you'd like the flexibility to also perhaps be able to work on things when you're where you live, in your home, and then you would need, no doubt, a laptop of some sort to allow you to complete the coursework. But it really only requires an internet connection. Yeah, that's the design.
Great. All right. To answer a couple more questions, if I'm in my second year in the university, can I apply to this program now? And I will say that you want to apply in the year that you plan to attend, or for the semester you plan to attend the graduate program. And by the time you start, by the start date of that semester, you need to have earned your STEM undergraduate bachelor's degree. So that that is the requirement. So, and then also, if your background is not STEM, how would I apply? And unfortunately, that is a prerequisite. So we define that very broadly, the STEM degree. So there are some lists online, and you want to see is your, if you have a very unique major name, which there are some really unique names out there within science, right? So think about, well, what's your college, what's your college? Are you in the College of Engineering? Are you in, a science and technology college, right? Which would then, reason that you are in a STEM major, right? So if you're wondering if you appear on the list, that's really sort of how we think about it. But the idea is you have those quantitative skills, you have those research skills, you have those you have that experience in undergrad with the type of problem solving that you would get in engineering, math, and science classes. Let's see. So for applicants for underdeveloped and low-income countries, tuition fees automatically disqualify them. Are there any solutions to help? The answer is yes. The MassE program offers scholarships and grants. Those are based on academic merit, financial need, educational diversity. One or all of these can make you eligible for a grant. So these will not be for full tuition and fees, but we definitely take into the consideration, right, the context of each applicant and their financial need when considering the size of a grant to each student, because we do want to make the program accessible. Let's see. A question for you, Melissa. If you may know, does this program offer courses related to FPGA and ASICC design?
So I think what you are referring to is our topics in electrical engineering. And we do have several electrical engineering courses planned and which will be available when we open the program. So I have to confess, I don't know those particular engineering terms because I'm not an engineer, but I believe they're in that area, in which case I think, yes, I would say absolutely.
Great, thank you. All right, I'm going to put our last slide up here while I answer the last couple of questions, just so you can visit that QR code to learn more information of the about the program, sign up for our mailing list. Last couple of questions. Is there a structure like was presented for the statement of purpose that we can hand off to our references? And the answer is, you know, I gave some advice about that earlier in the presentation. There is some advice on the UC Berkeley Graduate Division website. But, you know, what I always advise is, you know, they are writing about their attestation of your capacity for graduate level coursework. And they can do that through their demonstrating witnessing your academics, your research, your work experience, and then you can prepare them for this by giving them, you know, your application packet to reference, right, so that they have a good sense of you holistically, and also some key bullet points of, you know, the key accomplishments that you have had while, you know, maybe under their supervision. So that's really helpful. Great. I think that was the last question. Wow, we answered all of them. Thanks so much, Felicia and Melissa. Again, I want to thank everyone here in the audience for attending. We're really excited to receive your application. You know, if you have any questions, there's an email address and a website here. You know, please don't hesitate to reach out. You know, we hope to welcome you into the Berkeley engineering community. Go Bears.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your being here today.